Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be going through with you how Manchester United could line up next season with Harry Kane, Jadon Sancho, Kalidou Koulibaly and Jack Grealish in the team, because of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is assessing his options for next season and he's already identified the key areas where he does want to strengthen up. Solskjaer wants to recommend the centre forward in, he also wants to recommend a right winger in, and he's also in search for a midfielder. And I said, possibly, Manchester United could get a centre half in. Yeah. So I'm going to go through with you now how Manchester United, could line up next season. This, by the way, would be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's dream team. So, in a 3-5-2 formation, this is how I think Manchester United could line up next season. Now, I think personally anywhere, we look more expansive with that 3-5-2 formation, and I think, Solskjaer should go that formation on a regular basis, to be quite honest with you. So I think he needs to go more with that formation when, the season does eventually resume, and next season he needs to go more with that formation, because on a regular basis this season Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but for my own perception that doesn't really seem to suit our standards. I think when Solskjaer was the interim manager in that 3-month period, he went a lot with the 4-3-3 as well, and I think we'd do alright with the 4-3-3 formation, but we've usually been going with 3 at the back against, the elite opposition. And I did say, didn't I, before, Solskjaer's approach to the big games throughout the course of this season have been very, very good. So yeah, so let's go give you the dream team now then in a 3-5-2 formation. So David De Gea in goal, the 3 at the back, Harry Maguire, obviously, Victor Lindelof and Kalidou Koulibaly. The wing backs, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw, they'd be the wing backs. In the midfield, Pogba and Jack Grealish, as a midfield partnership. Bruno Fernandes, of course, in the advanced role. And up front, Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford. So that's how Manchester United could line up next season in a 3-5-2 if we get Kane, if we get Kalidou Koulibaly, and if we get, of course, Jack Grealish. Also, Sancho is into the equation as well. Now, let's see how Manchester United could line up next season if, we go with the 4-3-3 formation. Now, David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, Lindelof, Harry Maguire, centre-back partnership, Luke Shaw left back, the 3 in the midfield, Pogba, Grealish and Bruno Fernandes. On the left, Marcus Rashford. On the right, Jadon Sancho. Up top, Harry Kane. So that's how we could line up with a 4-3-3 next season and that. And like I've said to you, there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda in that. And if we was to sign Jadon Sancho, when the transfer window does reopen, and, if we are to, sign the likes of Harry Kane and stuff like that, maybe Martial. Do you think then he could actually, leave Manchester United? I don't think Martial will leave Manchester United. I really, really don't think he'll leave Manchester United. I think he'll stay with us for the foreseeable future. But with Sancho and that coming in, Martial may find game time very, very difficult. Obviously, Martial's now into his, 5th season with the football club. We need to find him a permanent position, Anthony Martial, because Martial has been playing in the number 9 role this season. But Martial, predominantly plays out wide on the left, because in his 4 previous seasons prior to this season, he's been playing on the left as Anthony Martial. So what should we do with Anthony Martial? And he has been subjected to transfer speculation in the past. Like I said to you before, I think one of the best seasons Anthony Martial endured was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. And we did pay around 36 million for Martial, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. And obviously, last year was it, he signed a new long-term contract with the football club. But yeah, Solskjaer's obviously, been happy with the way Martial, rejuvenated himself before all the football season got suspended, because he's on like 16, 17 goals this season. But we shall see. And same sort of thing with Daniel James, because he's also a winner And Sancho coming in, Daniel James could also find game time very, very difficult. Do you think if we were to get Sancho in, do you think we should loan maybe Daniel James out? I don't think we'll loan Daniel James out, I think he's definitely a long-term future for Manchester United is Daniel James, and I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season. He's had a few games where he hasn't played to his best. Don't forget, he scored against Lask before all the football season got suspended, and that was Man United's last game. That was his first goal for the club since the 31st of August. Daniel James can play on the left, Daniel James can also play on the right, but you tend to see the best of him on the left-hand side, But there's some aspects of his game that need to improve, his crossing needs to improve, his tracking back needs to improve and that. But he's played a lot of games this season. I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done. So I've got to give Daniel James a hell of a lot of credit. My preference would be, if we was to get these players for next season, I'd like to see Sancho, Rashford and Anthony Martial as a front three. That would be my preference because I think that would be one of the club's best attacking trios. I think one of the best attacking trios I've known Man United have was back in 2009 when we had Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez. But we may not sign Jadon Sancho because obviously, like I said to you yesterday, there has been reports saying that, Borussia Dortmund are attempting to block Jadon Sancho making a move to Man United. And reportedly, if Jadon Sancho is to turn down a move to the Premier League, Borussia Dortmund are willing to give him a new contract worth around £165,000 a week, which equates to around £4 million per season. But this is only if he turns down a move to the Premier League. But if he was to sign this new contract and accept this pay rise, he would be the second highest paid player at Borussia Dortmund behind Marco Reus, because Marco Reus is the highest paid player at Borussia Dortmund. But we've been relentlessly linked with Jadon Sancho, and he's predominantly a right winger. And don't forget, Manchester United are in search for a right winger. To be quite honest with you, I'm very, very sceptical that we'll sign Sancho and Harry Kane. Because if we were to sign Sancho and Harry Kane, that'd cost us around 320 million, because Tottenham have said they want 200 for Kane, and Borussia Dortmund have remained ruthless over their valuation because Dortmund have said they want around 120 million for Sancho. Let's put Jack Grealish into the equation. He's going to cost 70-80 million pounds. So that'd be £400 million there on free players. I think for us to get them free players in, we'd obviously have to sell players first, so we can obviously fund getting them 3 players in. And we are obviously going to sell players when the transfer market does reopen. But there was reports the other week saying that if we was to actually sign Jadon Sancho, that could actually convince Harry Kane to come to the football club. Don't forget, it did say last year that Borussia Dortmund had revealed that they wanted Mason Greenwood as part of a swap deal of selling Jadon Sancho, but obviously we've got no intentions of letting Mason Greenwood go. Again, Mason Greenwood is the foreseeable future for Manchester United, definitely. He's only in his first season in the senior squad. He seldom starts in the Premier League. You can say Mason Greenwood is a backup, but I think in the next year or so he will emulate to Rashford's level. Probably will end up overtaking Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you. But I think Mason Greenwood's on 12 or 13 goals this season in all competitions. And he's only, the age of 18 or 19. So, there you go. But we're not willing to let Mason Greenwood go as part of a deal. And it did say anywhere, it could depend on, whether we get Champions League football or not if we get Jadon Sancho. Because there was recent reports saying that if we don't get Champions League football, then Jadon Sancho will reject a move to Old Trafford. We was relentlessly linked with Jadon Sancho last year, but the main explanation why we didn't get him last year is obviously because we had no Champions League football to offer, and there has been uncertainty over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future. Now, I think we're only the club that are willing to meet Borussia Dortmund's asking price, because Borussia Dortmund have said they want £120 million. If we was to pay that'd make him a record signing in the Premier League and the most expensive player in British player in history. I think we've been working on his contract for quite some time. I think Man United would be willing to offer him over £200,000 a week to convince him to come to the football club. And it did say we was willing to offer Jadon Sancho the number 7, because obviously we've got number 7 vacant at the moment. Jadon Sancho, as it stands at the moment, has got around 2 years remaining on his contract with Borussia Dortmund. Yes, he has. 2 years remaining on his contract with Dortmund, and he's obviously now into his third season with Borussia Dortmund. But I've got to say, since Sancho's arrival in Germany, he has been a revelation. There again, he was dropped in quite a lot of games earlier on in the season. Borussia Dortmund only paid 7 or 8 million for him from Man City, so if they do sell Sancho, then obviously they will make a huge profit on the player. But Chelsea have also been in for him, and there's still a possibility, a chance that Chelsea could get him, because Sancho recently revealed that he's a lifelong Chelsea fan. Also, too, he began his career in London anyway with Watford, because he was at Watford for several years, and Sancho is well proven in the Premier League, so him coming back to the Premier League would rejuvenate his career. Another beneficial thing about him coming to Man United is that, like I said, he's got a really, really good friendship with Marcus Rashford, and I think, they do keep in regular contact. And Marcus Rashford's already revealed that he wants Jadon Sancho at Manchester United next season. But yeah, there's been reports over the last few weeks basically, saying that, Jadon Sancho at Man United is confirmed. The Irish Independent came out quite a few weeks ago now and said it's unofficially confirmed that Sancho will come to Man United, but nothing's been officially announced as yet, because Sancho revealed his preference is a move to Old Trafford. And he is only at the age of 20, and he's just recently turned 20 as Jadon Sancho. Liverpool have also been in for him. I'm very, very sceptical that Liverpool will get him. Obviously, Liverpool have to sell one of their attacking trio in Salah, Firmino or Mane, so Sancho, would get game time week in, week out. So, yeah, that would be my preference for next season if Sancho was to come in. Sancho, Kane and Rashford. Sancho, Kane and Martial, as a front three. Some people would obviously some United fans' preference would be Sancho, Kane and Marcus Rashford. Don't forget, they are all British as well. So yeah, so how do you think, Manchester United could line up next season? Obviously, with Kalidou Koulibaly at the back and Jack Grealish in the midfield. Just let me know in the comments below. Now, I said to you, didn't I, yesterday, I'm very, very sceptical that Manchester United will sign Harry Kane when the transfer window does reopen. Maybe we could get Harry Kane in the foreseeable future. Maybe we could get him like next year or maybe the next couple of years' time. But I'm very, very sceptical that we'll get him when the transfer window does reopen. Now, there's actually been some positivity coming out regarding him today, because it reportedly says that Real Madrid have cooled their interest now in Harry Kane, because Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with Harry Kane, because obviously you've got Real Madrid that are looking to do more investment, despite the fact that Real Madrid recruited around 5 or 6 players in last summer and spent around 200 or 300 odd million pounds. But they're also looking to offload players. Obviously they're unhappy with Luka Tovicic since his arrival from Frankfurt last summer. Karim Benzema, he's coming to an end of his career, so looking to move him on. Obviously, looking to get rid of Gareth Bale. They're also looking to get rid of James Rodriguez of Real Madrid. But yeah, so there's quite a few players on Real Madrid's agenda, but reportedly now they're no longer in for Harry Kane. But Harry Kane has given his overarching view on this, and he's actually revealed that his preference is a move to Manchester United over Real Madrid. So maybe Kane is interested in continuing plying his trade in the Premier League. Also, I think it said before that Juventus have also been in for Kane. Also, too, Manchester City have been in for Harry Kane. Now, James Cooper, who's a Sky Sports reporter, and Sky Sports is a very reliable source, like I mentioned yesterday, so I'm basically reiterating it. He actually says that Manchester United are not interested in Kane, and he's not he's not on our list of transfer targets and that. But you never know. Obviously, Tottenham have said, Daniel Levy has agreed that Tottenham will let Harry Kane leave when the transfer window reopens, providing that their £200 million asking price is met. Tottenham have said they want a world record fee of £200 million. If Man United were to pay £200 million, that would make him the joint most expensive player in the world, because the most expensive player in the world at the moment is Neymar, who PSG paid £200 million for from Barcelona quite a few years ago now. But yeah, basically Tottenham have offered Harry Kane to Manchester United, but I'm just very, very sceptical that we'll pay £200 million for Harry Kane. Very, very sceptical, and I know Man United, we're known for overpaying for players. Like I mentioned, we paid 50 million for Fred, we paid 40 million for Matic, we paid 75 for Lukaku. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. Back under Louis van Gaal, we paid, was it around 60 million for Di Maria? So we have been criticised, for overpaying for players in, recent years and stuff like that. But I just can't see us paying £200 million for one player. And like I've said to you before, there's cheaper solutions than Harry Kane, who Manchester United could get in. And there's not only him who's on our agenda as a striker, there's a few strikers on our agenda. Aubameyang would be a much cheaper solution. Timo Werner would be a much cheaper solution. Werner's available for around £50 million. Haaland's a cheaper solution. So I just don't think Kane is worth the £200 million that Tottenham are demanding. Now Tottenham are basically, looking to ease their financial worries, because take into account Tottenham are still paying for their £1 billion stadium. They're paying 630 odd million on the loan, on the stadium loan, yeah, and around 83 million in transfer fees. So if no team's willing to meet their £200 million valuation, then I do believe Kane will probably remain at Tottenham for another year. But Kane, as you all know, Harry Kane came out last month and he had made an admission, and he basically said that he could decide to leave Tottenham if he feels as though the team are not progressing. And obviously, Harry Kane's already revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to win silverware. And he hasn't experienced any of this, during his Tottenham career so far. And he has been at Tottenham for several years. He's been in their senior squad since 2011. And he's scored 181 goals in all competitions as Harry Kane. So he's Tottenham's third highest goal scorer in their history. But he did say, didn't he, he will not stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. But we've been relentlessly linked with Harry Kane. I think we've been in for him for the last 5 years. I think the first time we expressed our interest in Kane was back under the Louis van Gaal era. Now, of course, Daniel Levy, I've spoken to you about him a few times, who's the Tottenham chairman now. He tends to be a very, very hard negotiator when it comes to recruiting players from Tottenham. But he's also a very, very good businessman, let's be honest. And I think it did say Ed Woodward is set to hold negotiations with Daniel Levy over the possibility of Man United signing Harry Kane. Now, of course, Kane's still got 4 years remaining on his contract with Tottenham. He's under contract with them until 2024. Obviously, he signed a 6-year contract 2 summers ago. He signed a 6-year contract with Tottenham, worth around £200,000 a week. So then he committed his long-term future with them, did Harry Kane. And he's injury prone, so that's an element of concern I've got about him, because he has been out with a hamstring injury since New Year's Day as Harry Kane. And that. But he just feels unhappy at Tottenham, does Harry Kane. He just seems really, really unhappy. And he's only the age of 26. He's still in his prime, and I think he'd be a great addition to our squad if he came in. You've had the likes of, Harry Redknapp saying he'd be a great addition to our squad, but he should stay at Tottenham. Neville, Keane, they've all said he'd be a great addition to our squad. And no doubt if we did get Harry Kane in, that, Man United would be title contenders next season. Possibly, maybe not win it, but I think we can definitely challenge for the league next season if we did get Harry Kane. We're looking basically for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because we didn't get that replacement for Romelu Lukaku last summer, unfortunately. Of course, Lukaku enjoyed 2 years at the club. Scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. Was absolutely exceptional in his first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. We had to let Lukaku go because he lost his place in the team. So that's why we let him go. And revert back to last summer as well. We didn't get that replacement for Ander Herrera in that midfield and that. But yeah, so that's the news on that. And I think, with our links to the likes of Kane, Haaland and Aubameyang and all the rest of it, I think it's delaying Man United, getting Odion Ighalo permanently. Now, I don't know if we're going to get Odion Ighalo permanently. It said quite a few weeks ago that, Solskjaer had made an admission, and he said it's very, very likely that we will decide to get Odion Ighalo permanently. Reflect on how good he's done so far. because Odion Ighalo has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's got 4 goals in 3 starts for the club, and like I mentioned, he's a very, very good cover-up to Marcus Rashford. We've got him on loan at the moment. We paid 3 or 4 million to get him on loan. We're paying like a third of his wages, and it'll cost us around £15 million to get Ighalo permanently. So he is a cheap solution. Ighalo revealed the other week that he's not yet received an offer for Man United, to extend his stay at the club. I think we'll probably extend his loan, to be quite honest with you, until 30th of June due to the coronavirus pandemic, because Odion Ighalo's loan at the football club ends on the 31st of May, his current loan spell, that is, with the football club. The other week, Shanghai Shenhua, his parent club, they came out and said that they was willing to offer Odion Ighalo around 200 grand a week. Was it 400 grand a week, I think it said, sorry. Plus a 2-year contract extension, to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. Yes, and that. To turn down a permanent move to Man United. But I think Ighalo's revealed that he wants to stay. And he said, he's going to have to take a £200,000 pay cut if he wants to remain at the football club. But yeah. And with Grealish, like I said, I'd be very, 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 very excited about, Grealish playing alongside Pogba in our midfield. And like I said about Pogba, it's not assured he's going to stay at Manchester United. But if recent reports are to be believed, he could be staying at Manchester United, because don't forget the Spanish expert recently came out and says that, Pogba's expected to sign a new long-term contract and he will become the club's leader. So, this is what the Spanish expert has said. Now, with Grealish, it's not fully assured that we're going to sign Jack Grealish when the transfer window does reopen, because recent reports have come out and said that our preference is to get a holding midfielder instead of getting Jack Grealish on the board. Now, narratives have been coming out of the mainstream media saying that Everton have been interested in Jack Grealish, because, Everton have got quite a few players on their agenda. I think also Tottenham have been long admirers of him. Don't forget, back in the summer of 2018, Tottenham, I think, came close to getting Grealish for around 25 million, but obviously, the deal didn't materialise. Now, I think Grealish is keen on making a move to Manchester United, and like I said, Grealish will cost us around 80 million pounds. If Villa were to stay up, but if Villa were to get relegated and we was to reignite our interest, then maybe it won't cost as much as 70 or 80 million pounds with Jack Grealish. But I can definitely almost assure that he will leave Aston Villa. Now, obviously, was it last month? Don't forget, Grealish had that incident with his £80,000 Range Rover. He crashed it. Obviously, Grealish gave his overarching view on the incident, and he publicly apologised, and he'd been fined £150,000. And he felt embarrassed about the incident, but Grealish was breaking lockdown rules because, he attended a party, was it, at like 4 or 5 in the morning. But he did say, reflect on that incident, that his move to Man United when the transfer window reopens could be in doubt. Now, I take Jack Grealish at Man United because I think he's enjoyed a good career with Aston Villa. Grealish has spent the vast majority of his career with Aston Villa. He's been a Villa player since the age of 6. He's been in their senior squad since 2014. And since he got into the senior squad, he's become an integral part of their team. He's flourished under Dean Smith's guidance. Grealish has got a contract with Aston Villa until 2023. But yeah, he's been subjected to so much transfer speculation, has Jack Grealish. But I think probably Grealish believes that anyway now. He's far too good for Aston Villa. But him alongside Pogba and Bruno Fernandes and that, would just be absolutely amazing, to be quite honest with you. But yeah. And like I said, with Kalidou Koulibaly, again, I'm not confident Manchester United will sign him when the transfer market does reopen, because I don't think we're going to sign him centre-half when the transfer market does reopen. I was just basically, earlier on in the video, going through with you how we could line up next season if we were to sign them players and stuff like that. But obviously, Napoli, I think, have confirmed that Kalidou Koulibaly will leave Napoli when the transfer window reopens, on one condition, and that's if their £74 million asking price is met. So for us to get Kalidou Koulibaly, we're going to have to make him one of our most expensive signings, and we're going to have to make him one of the most expensive centre-halves in the world. The most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment is Harry Maguire. Then Virgil van Dijk is the second one, so Kalidou Koulibaly could become like the third expensive centre-half in the world if he was to come to Manchester United and he was willing to meet that £74 million valuation. But an Italian newspaper, Sport, they said last week that Man United have been in constant contact with Napoli's president over the availability of Kalidou Koulibaly. So too have Manchester City, and so too have PSG. But I think last month Kalidou Koulibaly made an admission, and he did say, to the Napoli president, that he does want to leave Napoli, especially if they don't get Champions League qualification. Kalidou Koulibaly's been a long-serving player at Napoli. He's now into his 6th season with them, and I think he's made about 233 appearances in all competitions, around 173 in the Serie A as the player, and I think he's now, 28 or 29, so he's highly experienced centre-half. I think he's still got a contract with Napoli until 2023, but Napoli selling him for 74 million, they'd make a huge profit on the player, because Napoli only paid around £6.5 million for him from Genk, was it? And he actually began his career at Metz when he was a lot younger. But maybe we don't need a centre-half, because we've got a lot of centre-halves in the team. Like I've mentioned, we've got Harry Maguire, we've got Victor Lindelof, who are first-choice centre-halves. You've got Bay and Tuanzebe, that are our backups. You've got Phil Jones, that's like our 5th-choice centre-half. I think Phil Jones is one of the players that's leaving Man United when the transfer market does reopen now. Rojo, he's like our 6th-choice centre-half. He's on loan at Estudiantes at the moment. I think, we will get rid of Rojo again on a permanent transfer. Smalling, another centre-half, he's on loan at Roma. I'm very, very sceptical that he'll come back to Manchester United, because again, he won't get in the team. Like I said, a lot of clubs have got financial difficulties across the world, and it said Roma may not be able to get him permanently, Smalling, due to their financial difficulties, but I don't think we'll take him back. Smalling did enjoy 9 years at Manchester United, and I still think he's got a contract with us until 2022. We've got Tuanzebe that can play as a centre-half as well. You've got Fosu Mensah that can play as a centre-half. So there's too many centre-halves in the team. So I don't really think, Manchester United need a centre-half and that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does deserve another season at Manchester United. He definitely deserves another season at Manchester United, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because like I said to you, before the football season that got suspended, we was in a good run of form, because we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, and this is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. Now obviously, reflecting back when Solskjaer was the interim manager, he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he won his first 8 games. He'd won 14 out of 19 in total, and that was enough, to give him the job on a permanent basis. Don't get me wrong, since Solskjaer got the job permanently, his record has been disastrous. But he deserves another season at the football club. He's been at Manchester United now for 16 months, so he has been here now for over a year, but he's been permanent Manchester United manager for a year. But it does take some managers time, to get things right. And there's a few things I credit him for, for the players that he has recruited in so far. Solskjaer has recruited 5 players in 3 transfer windows and spent around £220 million. I think when the transfer market does reopen, we're going to spend another £200 million on bringing more players in. He's also, promoted the youth very, very well, because the young players have been given their opportunities this season. Like I said, our record against elite opposition this season has been good. Also too, he's progressed to the FA Cup quarter-finals, the last 8 of the Europa League, and that's a chance for, getting some silverware on the board. So there's some positive, you can take from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, like I've mentioned. But, Solskjaer, it's good that he's revealed his plans for when the transfer market reopens. He wants to make around 4 signings, because he believes that's how many signings Man United do need to become title contenders next season. He wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British players in, like he did do last summer. And I think a lot of people, do like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy. Like I said, he's already identified the areas where he wants to strengthen up. And he did say, didn't he, the other week, Solskjaer, he says we will exploit the transfer market when it does reopen. I think another thing we've improved on under Solskjaer, we have improved in the transfer market under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I've said before. What I mean is, I think, we have been a bit more sensible with our recruitment, so that's also some more good news. But like I said, Ed Woodward's backing Solskjaer. Solskjaer's also got the backing of the Glazers, which is a positive. Good news came out last week that Ed Woodward is no longer involved in our recruitment process. Because like I said, Man United have been very, very critical of Ed Woodward. We've been very critical of Ed Woodward, because we don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. We've been doubting the club's ownership this season, the Glazers. Because I think the Glazers have taken over £1 billion out of the club, and I think the Glazers have been here since 2005. Don't forget, we've got no intentions of appointing a director of footballing. I think mainly, because of Sir Alex Ferguson. But yeah, I don't know if we can get his 21st title under Solskjaer, but I think he does deserve at least a couple of more transfer windows, because Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Because, we have been playing catch up for the last 6 or 7 years. Like I said, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Don't forget, we sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. Hell of a lot of money's been invested into the club in the last 6 or 7 years, and like I said to you before, we have recruited over 30 odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. Like I said, under Moyes we got Fellaini in, he's no longer here now though. We got Juan Mata in. Under Van Gaal he brought players like Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Falcao, Di Maria, Daley Blind, Rojo, Darmian, Martial Shaw, who was still here. So Van Gaal brought a lot of players in. He also got rid of a lot of the players, that we had under Alex Ferguson. Because obviously, we still had a lot of Ferguson's team, when we did have David Moyes, because Moyes only recruited 2 players in. And Mourinho recruited 11 players in, and I've already gone through that with you. And Solskjaer's inheriting the vast majority of Jose Mourinho's players, so let's just put that into the equation. But like I've said, we haven't been the same team since Fergie left. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. But I think we can win it within the next 2 to 3 years' time, definitely. But if it doesn't work out next season with Solskjaer, then I would get rid of him. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care, God bless. And I will be doing a video tonight. Thanks very much.